Even the Christian women are admitting to this. Oh, God's a better father than my biological father, so I'm kicking him out the picture. It's not for the money, not for the child support, not for the alimony, not for the social services, the Section 8, the WIC, the EBT, and everything else. No. What it's for is for God, because God's better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared podcast. I'm your host, Austin Creed. My friends, I want to upfront apologize if my voice sounds a little different. My voice is kind of gone today, but I wanted to do this show. Since my move, I've been looking at different churches and exploring them both online and whatnot, and it's interesting. Interesting to hear a lot of what I talk about on this show continue to play out, no matter where I am, what state I'm in, what county I'm in. For some reason, a lot of these topics we discuss, how Christian pastors are letting women off the hook, how they're putting young men doubly accountable for things that they're not meant to take accountability for, and they're teaching them to be weak men who are not attractive to women. They're letting women off the hook. They glorify Mother's Day, but they kind of downplay Father's Day. They try to get men who have skills, whether it be electricians, plumbers, carpenters, etc., to basically give them free labor for stuff. The list goes on and on. But my friends, you know what really gets me? Is every time around this Mother's Day season, for some reason, pastors feel the need to bump up single mothers, as if single mothers in the church are, oh, they're so important. Oh, they're so wonderful and so great. No, actually, they're a disgrace. And then you'll hear women be like, oh, but God is the father to the fatherless. Yeah, tell that to the communities in the inner cities who don't have fathers, who have the biggest crime rates. Oh, I'm sorry, was I not supposed to say that? This is what you get when you have these single mothers who their kids are more likely to go to jail. You don't believe me? Check the statistics. I'm not making this up. See, they'd have you believe it's the other way around. Gentlemen, single fathers and single mothers are nowhere near the same thing. Ideally, you have a two-parent household, but the problem is, even in the church today, and in larger society, that's just not feasible. Because women are selfish, number one. Most men are not attractive, number two. And number three, there's no reason to hold it together. There's no glue in society that's holding it together anymore. And if you don't take my word for it, that's okay. I brought proof. We're going to discuss this on the show today. My friend, before I start playing the clips, let me know, please, throughout the show, whether it's on the videos, on the comments I make, please leave your thoughts and your comments below. I love reading them. I love interacting with everybody on the show. So let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's jump into the first video about how single mothers are about single mothers in the church and about the Christian single mothers. Can they even be Christians? Can they be classified as such? Well, let's see. Let's see what they got to say.
So, y'all, I really used to grieve in my spirit over being a single mom, and not because it's hard, which it is, but because I am a woman raising a young man. And I know and acknowledge there are things that he needs to learn as a young man that I, as a woman, cannot teach him. And it used to cause me to grieve so much up until last year when my son started going to youth group, and I really started to see him develop a relationship with God that was completely independent from my relationship with God. And I started to see a shift, and it clicked for me. God is a father to the fatherless. And the areas where I lack, he does not. And he's a far better parent than I am, than his biological father, than any of us are. He's a far better parent. The best thing that we can do as single mothers is to give our children to Christ and let him take care of them. And he will. I know that it's not his design for us to be a single mom, but he works everything together for our good, so he will take care of our babies.
This is the worst kind of discrimination. The kind against me.
Oh my goodness. Where do I begin? First of all, gentlemen, this is the kind of stuff you're up against, by the way. Not only are relationships about to hit a flat line, but on top of that, you have these women talking about how you're a deadbeat dad and Jesus is a better father than you. Now you're being compared to God as if the bar wasn't high enough. Now you got this garbage to contend with. Gentlemen, this is the problem right here. This is the problem right here. She's a single mother whose Statistically speaking, her son has a higher chance of ending up in prison, higher chance of ending up being a criminal, being in street gangs. Go down the list, having drug issues. You can go down the litany. But then these same women want to be like, oh, it's okay, because God's going to father my child. Ma'am, how has that worked out statistically for people? I'm just going to ask the question. First of all, where is the father? What does he do? You failed to mention that part. Who is the father? What does he do? You failed to mention that part. I can guarantee you he's not that bad of a guy. Or if he is, that's your fault for procreating with that man. You chose that man. You let that man skate in your guts. You let that man do that to you. You let that man clap those cheeks. Guess what? That's on you. And now you want to make it not only he's a problem, now you want to be like, oh, don't worry, I don't need a father in my life, I got God. Oh, she's also looking for a good Christian Chad or Tyrone, too, at the same time, blaming men for not wanting to wife her up. That's why she joined the church in the first place, most likely. Gentlemen, this is what you're competing against. This is what is in the church right now. This is what you are dealing with. Gentlemen, this is the problem. And if it wasn't bad enough, look at this clip right here. Let's see what you think about this.
This message is for my single moms and my single moms only. If you are not a single mom, this message is not for you. Now that it's just us, I just want to remind you that you are doing an amazing job. I know it is hard raising kids by yourself. I know you hear things and when you go out in public, you see families and it hurts a little bit inside every time you see that and you don't have that. But I just want to remind you that God has not forgotten about you. And where you are currently is not the end of your story. And I want you to remember that you are not what the world says that you are. You are not disgraced. You are not a disappointment. You have to remember that you are first a child of God. You are first a child of the King. And although your circumstances may have you in a certain situation right now, this is not where you are going to stay. So I just want to remind you that you are loved. God sees you. God hears your prayers. God sees your tears. He hears when you cry out to him. And I want you to remember who you are and whose you are. We are not our own. We are bought with a price. And just because you are a single mom does not mean that God will not use you or that your mistakes outweigh the promise that he has for your life. You got this.
Oh my goodness. Gentlemen, at what point, I gotta admit, that was painful, dude. Does anybody else have a headache now? Oh my goodness. Okay, I have so many things. Number one, ma'am, where is the father? Because here's my question. If you are the common denominator, how has it happened that there are so many men who are good Christian men who want to have families, and yet there are a lot of single mothers out there who I can't help but notice either A, are completely unmarriageable, or two, they have Pookie's kid walking in, they snot-nosed, crumb-snatching kid that's half Pookie walking in there, disrupting the classroom, disrupting everything. And then you want to pretend like, oh, don't worry, girl, God got your back. Only God can judge you. So we're using God as a convenience. So it's okay to be bought with a price when God's paying the bill, but not when, we could have made good decisions. We could have made great decisions both financially for us, for our children, for our future. That was nowhere to be found. But now that I'm in the need position and I don't have the money, I don't have the support, I don't have the guidance, now I'm going to get that from God, I'm going to get that from my pastor, I'm going to get that from the good men in the church. This is the problem. These people are leeches. But they want to pretend like their weakness is a virtue. They want to pretend like their deficiency is an advantage for you. No, it's not. You are a disgrace. You are doing your children a disservice, doing the community a disservice, and you're pretending like you're not doing that, and that's the worst part. And then adding only God can judge you as if I can't see what's blatantly staring me in the face, and the rest of the men listening to this show can't see what the hell they're looking at. Which is, you're desperate, you want a gump, a guy you don't respect, who you wouldn't have given a chance if you didn't have that child behind you, Now all of a sudden, you want a good man when you couldn't be helped to find a good man when you were at your prime, didn't have a kid, and had your youth and fertility. All of a sudden, no. The good man he was no good then. But now that you have Pookie's kid, or you couldn't lock down the father, or you praying mantis the father out of the relationship, now all of a sudden, God, I need you. God following man who's gullible, I need you. This is a disgrace. This is predatory. This is apex predator behavior. What's the difference between this and women who baby trap athletes? It's the same idea. They're getting somebody else to pay for their bad decisions. It's a disgrace. And then they want to pretend like, oh, don't worry, it's not a problem. And then not only is it not a problem, you got men in the church saying that not only is it not her fault, it's your fault. Listen to this now.
Many men in the world that hate to hear me preach this. That's right. But you know what? I'm going to preach it if you die. Because I travel around the world, and there's too many women that's on their own, raising their own children, while the bum who claims he's a man don't want to do nothing but have sex.
That's it. Tell him, brother.
Am I right, I say?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, you heard that right. He blamed you. He said, you're the problem. You, my friend, are the problem. Not the women for letting Pookie hit it raw. Not, it's your fault. Now you get to pick up the tab. Apparently, we as men, we're back to the we only want one thing argument. Oh, that's great. Good. Great. My friends, does anybody actually think that this is accurate? If you do, please leave my show, because you're part of the problem. If you honestly think that I'm for 1 second gonna fall for this, oh, but it's the men's fault. Last time I checked, the women were the ones who controlled the intimacy and the access, and it was the men who controlled the relationship. So if you're the one who's letting him skeet in the guts, and we're even assuming he's running away, not that you're forcing him out for the child support, the alimony, the public assistance, and everything, which most Western countries have, we're pretending like that's not a reality. And yet, this is what most men hear when they go to church. They hear the single mother is a princess warrior, and the no good men are out there knocking these women up and never calling them again. First of all, that is a myth. That is a total and absolute myth. Most men love their children, they just don't like the women and how the woman is treating them. That's what they don't like. But then, you ever seen the movie Toy Story 3 with that bear, the pink bear Lotso, where him and two other toys get left behind on accident by the kid? They find the kid replaces him, but not the other two toys. And then he leaves, and he's like, they replaced us. Come on, I'll play the clip for you, but I probably get a copyright. But there's a scene of Lotso the bear where he goes, him and like the clown and the little baby, they go back and they find the woman, the owner's house. They go in the window, they look through the window, and only Lotso has been replaced. He then says, she replaced all of us, and then gets all of them to leave when the other two could have easily gone back in the house and easily had their place restored with that little girl, except for Lotso. So what did he do? He poisoned all of them and took them all and bounced. That's exactly what women do. They'll say to the children, oh, your daddy doesn't love you because the daddy doesn't love her. The kids could easily go live with the father, and the father would give them everything that he didn't have as a kid and do his best for them. But instead, the woman, because she's been replaced, will poison the children against that man. That's called parental alienation, and it's disgusting. But tell me I ain't lying. Even the Christian women are admitting to this. Oh, God's a better father than my biological father, so I'm kicking him out the picture. It's not for the money, not for the child support, not for the alimony, not for the social services, the Section 8, the WIC, the EBT, and everything else. No. What it's for is for God, because God's better. What? What?
What?
Really? Gentlemen, this is what you're up against, man. This is why I say, can single mothers even be Christians? Because they don't act like one, they don't talk like them. They use God as a shield and a spear, like in the phalanx formations that the immortal Persians used to do, where they shield like this, then use a spear to fend back the enemy with the accuser. That's what they do with God. They use God as a shield and as a spear, and against anybody who would say that they would do anything. It's going towards their own ambitions and their own self-survival. It's unfortunately the reality, and a lot of Christian men would rather blame you as the problem and cater to the women instead of holding everybody equally accountable for their own actions. No, that's not fashionable. That doesn't get them paid. You see that? Women are more likely to spend than men. So what do? They cater to the women so they can get more money in the church. Tell me I ain't lying. Tell me I'm lying. I would love to hear it, because it's not true. Gentlemen, please let me know what you think about this. Because this is why men are running from relationships. I don't care if they're religious, not religious, spiritual, I don't care what they are. Men are running away from relationships. Not every man, but a lot of them. Enough to affect the marketplace. And now women are pretending like, oh, I'm being single by choice. No, you're not. You're being single by choice, just not your choice. Because women don't control relationships. It is men who control the relationships. That's like me saying, oh, I'm not having sex as a man. Okay, well, I don't have access to that unless it's given to me. That's kind of a stupid point. My friends, please let me know what you think. I'll leave it right here. I could drone on 15 more minutes, but I'm not going to do it. Because I kind of don't want to get thrown off the internet. I think I've already said enough. But my friends, this is part of the reason why men are checking out. We're done with this garbage, especially the young men. A lot of young men are saying, I don't want to be like this gump pastor who nobody actually respects. I'm done with this dude. He sounds weak, and I don't want to be weak, and I'd rather listen to guys on this side of the internet who sound more masculine and who actually have things going for them. Who talk with authority and don't sound like Mickey Mouse on Laughing Gas. My friends, take care of yourselves. I'm out of here. Please leave your thoughts below. I'd love to hear them. And you take care of yourselves. I'm out of here. Peace.